Welcome to another episode of the Quest Digest, where we cover all the Oculus Quest news for the week. There's a lot to cover in this week's episode, so let's get started.
It's showtime.
Before we get into the news, I just want to mention a few things that are coming soon to this channel. Soon I'm going to be playing the game Warlords. This is a multiplayer online dueling game set in the Wild West that you can get on SideQuest for free. Now I'm going to be playing this game against the developer, so we're going to be talking about this game and his upcoming plans for the game while we're dueling it out in VR. Also, if you follow my community posts, you'll know that I got trolled by Mark Zuckerberg and he sent me my Elite strap before he sent me my Oculus Quest 2. So I don't currently have an Oculus Quest 2, even though it seems like most of the world does. But as soon as I get it, which should be soon, I'll be posting some Oculus Quest 2 content. Those videos will be coming soon. Now you might be aware that the Oculus Quest was capable of playing some Oculus Go games. The compatible games were listed on this website here, which I'll link in the description below. Well, unfortunately the Oculus Quest 2 is going to have no support whatsoever for Oculus Go games. That means if you have Oculus Go games that you were playing on your Oculus Quest and you purchase an Oculus Quest 2, you will no longer be able to play those games. A while back I created a video of top 10 Oculus Go games that were compatible with the Oculus Quest, and I think it's a real shame that Oculus Quest 2 doesn't have the same compatibility, because some of those games were real gems, and it's a shame because the developers of those games lose out, as well as us gamers, who now, if we replace our original Oculus Quest with an Oculus Quest 2, can't enjoy those games. And I'm afraid the controversial and potentially negative news doesn't stop there. You're probably already aware that the Oculus Quest 2 requires you to link your personal Facebook account to the device, and eventually the original Oculus Quest will require you to do that also. And you're probably also aware of the controversy surrounding that, such as concerns around privacy and how Facebook use your data. Well, the next news story is probably not going to do anything to help those fears. Facebook have updated their conduct in VR policy, which basically says if you do anything to harass or bully others, invade personal space, or conduct yourself in a way that's considered abusive or offensive while playing with others online, then they have the right to suspend you or even fully revoke your ability to use your headset. And I have to say, I'm pretty torn on this issue. I mean, on the one hand, like most users, I want to be able to play online without having to deal with other players who just go online to troll other people. And of course, if there's nothing in place to control that kind of behaviour, then things can get really out of hand and really unpleasant in multiplayer experiences. But on the other hand, I'm worried about who's making these decisions, who's determining what is right and what is wrong. Some things are clearly wrong, some things are clearly right, but there is a lot of grey when it comes to ethics. And if Facebook start using some sort of machine algorithm to detect who is following their policy and who is not, then I can see there being potentially a lot of false positives, people getting flagged when they haven't done anything wrong, and potentially getting banned and having to go through a whole process to restore their accounts. And in fact, we've seen similar things like this already, with Facebook banning accounts for unclear reasons, leaving users unable to play their Oculus Quest 2 and having to follow up with Oculus in order to try to restore the service. There is also the fact that if you feel like you're being watched, it can create an equally unpleasant environment, where you feel like you have to watch your every move and you can't be who you want to be for fear of doing something that might be considered wrong. I can even see people potentially stop engaging with other people online altogether because of this. So I think this Big Brother approach is a bit heavy-handed, where your entire game library could be suspended because you did something that Facebook determined was wrong. Instead, I think a better way might be giving users more power to block whoever they like, however they like. Kind of like that Black Mirror episode called Blocks, where you could block a person so you don't hear them anymore and you don't see them anymore. But I'd be interested to see what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think this is a step in the right direction, or do you think this is going to lead to a lot more problems than it solves? And that leads me on to my next story. Someone might have actually found a way to obtain root access on the Oculus Quest 2, otherwise known as jailbreaking. So what is jailbreaking? Jailbreaking is gaining full access to the root of the operating system, so you get to access all of these features that you wouldn't otherwise have access to because of restrictions imposed by Facebook. So this could mean not needing a Facebook account to log into your Oculus Quest 2, and in fact the guy who's fronting the money, Robert Long, is saying he won't develop for the Oculus platform anymore because Facebook are requiring you to link your Facebook account to your device. So he is wanting someone to jailbreak the device so you no longer need a Facebook account in order to use your Oculus Quest 2. And in fact, it looks like someone has already managed to set up their Quest 2 without being forced to log in from Facebook. But I found the method they used to do that very hard to find, but apparently it's out there somewhere and people are using it with some success. Now at this point, I just want to say that I'm not advocating for jailbreaking the device, I'm simply delivering the news to you, and I just want to make you aware that there could be some risks and drawbacks associated with jailbreaking, and personally I'm going to link my Facebook account to my Quest 2, but if you are interested in this, I'm going to link the Twitter account of Robert Long in the description below, along with the Discord, so that you can keep up to date with the latest on this story as it develops. Now all the bad news is out the way, let's get on to something a bit more positive. Cybershoes is being developed for the Oculus Quest and Oculus Quest 2. Cybershoes are a locomotion system that designed to make movement as natural as possible in virtual reality. So you sit down, you slip on these shoes and you start walking, and they slide on the ground and allow you to move forwards or backwards depending on the direction of your feet. There is a Kickstarter campaign coming soon, and you can put your email down in order to be notified when that begins. If you already have the shoes, then all you need is the receiver for it to work on your Oculus Quest or Quest 2. And it won't just work with any game, the game will have to be compatible with the shoes, and we don't have a list of compatible titles for the Quest just yet. I think Cybershoes are a good idea and a step in the right direction, no pun intended, but I still think it's very early days when it comes to replicating natural locomotion in VR. Things like Cybershoes or these commercially available omnidirectional treadmills are of course a different experience to walking because your feet are sliding across the floor, and I haven't tried any of these devices so maybe I can't cast judgment, but from everything I've heard and from people I've talked to who have used these, it does take a bit of getting used to. Added to this, with the Cybershoes you have to be sitting down, which personally takes away some of the immersion for me. I think I'm going to wait for this technology to develop a bit more before I invest any money into it. But what are your thoughts? Are you going to back this Kickstarter campaign, or like me, are you going to wait for something else to come out? Or do you have Cybershoes already? How do you find them? Let me know in the comment section below. There's also been a massive update to Beatsaber for both Oculus Quest and PC VR. Now you can compete head to head against your friends to get the highest score. This new update also brings us a fancy new user interface, as well as the ability to create and customize your very own avatar. And this update comes completely free. Also, you may know that the Oculus Quest 2 is capable of running at 90Hz, so the original Oculus Quest runs at 72Hz, so there's an 18Hz increase between the two headsets. But this 90Hz feature has not been switched on yet, officially at least. But using SideQuest and something called ADB commands, this will allow you to play some games at the higher 90Hz refresh rate. Now bearing in mind some games are not compatible with 90Hz yet, but games such as Echo Arena, Superhot and Virtual Desktop, which allows you to play games streamed wirelessly from your computer, are all capable of 90Hz. Now bear in mind, because the 90Hz feature has not been officially enabled, this is a bit of a hack, so some things might not work, and just take care when doing it. But I've heard that people have had success doing this, even though I don't have an Oculus Quest 2 myself and cannot show you, unfortunately. But I'll link this website in the description below from Upload VR, which will run you through the steps on how to do it. And finally, to the Quest store to check out some new releases, and we have Space Shuttle 5, which has just over 4 stars out of 12 ratings. This game originally came out on the Sega Dreamcast. I had it back then, and now it's recreated in VR. Your goal is to save the Earth against invading aliens, and in order to do this, you have to master a series of life-saving dance poses, and do those dance poses in tune to the beat. We also have Rez sitting on almost 5 stars out of 43 ratings. This is another retro game that's been recreated in VR. In this game you experience a 360-degree synesthesia of colours and shapes that sync themselves to Rez's legendary techno soundtrack. and your goal is to blast your way through stages that consist of multiple enemies and bosses. And now we jump to SideQuest, and the first game that caught my eye was Traversal. This is a room scale game that uses procedural generation to adapt to your available play space. There are 4 different room scale experiences you can have, including a Pac-Man game and a VR gallery, but my favourite is the pyramid, where you have to discover the secrets of an ancient pyramid that's filled with different traps and riddles to solve. Then we have ATC VR Air Traffic Control Simulator. Now this is a demo in the very early stages at the moment, but you get to take on the role of a flight controller and authorise landings and takeoffs. At the moment there are only 3 planes to play with, but there is plans to add more in the future, and the next game we'll take a look at is Apocalypse 101 with Bob. This is a first-person shooter arcade survival game set in a post-apocalyptic world featuring a graduation training system to prepare you for the zombie-infested world outside. And finally we have Grunwald 1410. This is an experience designed to recount the events of the largest medieval battle in history. So you can do things like watch 2 guys duke it out on stage, and you can even get involved yourself in this sort of archery training kind of simulator. I was quite impressed by the visuals and the in-game physics for that one. Anyway, that's about it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Quest Digest, where we cover all this week's Oculus Quest news. If you have, do remember to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'll catch you next time.